make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's Thursday. We made it. Thanks for joining us. I am so glad you are here. Every day, I see how many people watch this show, and it just makes me tear up, and it makes me so excited because I get to bring you amazing people Monday through Friday, and I love that people are watching. You know, you do this kind of stuff, you're not in front of a studio audience, you don't know if people are watching, and people are watching. So let's take a look. We started 2025 with 100,000 views, and let's see where we're at today on what day is it? It's the 20th of February. Let's take a look. 240,123. And you know what? It's really those three people that really make my heart soar. So thank you to everyone who watches, who downloads, who listens. Now's a good time to just share the show. It would be very helpful if you just click that share button, click that love button, the like button, anything but the thumbs down to help support the show. I would really, really appreciate it because I love doing this, and it's the only way we're going to be able to continue. Okay, what else do I have to tell you? It's Throwback Thursday, and here's a little Throwback Thursday from, let's see, 2018. That is the beginning of, I think, season 4, maybe season 3, maybe season 2. I'm not sure. 2018 seems like a long time ago. One of my first shows that I ever did when I moved to San Antonio, Texas, with Irma and Yvette, two great comedians in San Antonio. Again, in a bedroom, playing talk show host. That is my life since I've been 10 years old. And that was a great, great time in San Antonio. I've met so many amazing people. Now we're here in South Carolina, meeting more amazing people. Our partnership with PodMatch, we get more amazing people like the people on today's show. I'm so excited. Okay, let's start the show, shall we? Because we have a good, great, amazing show today. And my first guest is a leadership activist with a critical message for our times. He is the founder of the Human-Centric Leadership Movement, and his message is simple yet profound. Keep it human. In an age of AI and increasing disconnection, he is here to explain why human connection is more vital than ever for effective leadership and for a thriving workplace. Please say hello to Jim Bouchard. Thanks, sir.
It's quite a challenge these days, isn't it? Yeah.
Listen, when did you realize this maybe was a problem?
You know, I don't look at it so much as a problem as an opportunity. And it started along, the short story is this. I'm a former drug addict and a 2-time college dropout. Aren't you glad you have me on the show now, right? Now,
part of my because we'll learn.
Yeah, right. Huh? Yeah, part of my recovery is how I got started into the martial arts. I didn't know it was going to turn into a 30-year career, but it did. And accidentally out of that, the leadership activism and speaking started because people were really asking me to share the philosophy of martial arts and, in business world and in real life. And a lot of that had to do with how a sensei or a martial arts instructor is able to connect, on a deeply human level with people and hopefully lead them to places they never expected to go before. And isn't that what every effective leader really does?
Yes, you would. Yes. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Was martial arts part of your recovery and sobriety? Is that how you got into that?
Yeah, no, exactly. Right. I think addicts have to find a substitute, something that gives you the feeling or a positive escape from whatever you were hiding from behind the drugs, alcohol or whatnot. So yeah, that was a big part of it. And then, like I said, along the way, actually this whole adventure really started, the form that we're practicing today, because my instructors would ask me as we were training them, what does a sensei really do? And it really came down to the three essential disciplines that we identified today, which is, to inspire. We need to touch people's hearts, not just their heads, right? To empower, to make sure they have what they need to succeed, and to guide them, be willing to sit face to face with people and guide them along the way. In business, we call it mentoring, right?
Mm-hmm. What did you want to be when you were a kid, when you grew up?
One of the things I wanted to be was a firefighter, and I got to do that.
Dreams come true. Yes.
So there you go. I wanted to be a professional football player. I made it to semi-pro, and
Wow.
so I got two of those things checked off, and the rest of it, I don't know. The rest of it was up in the air. I'm glad to be where I am today. This is really, I couldn't, I didn't plan it, but I couldn't imagine being in a better place. This is a very rewarding career, and I get to travel the world and meet the best people, best leaders, and I mean leaders. I'm not just talking about people with titles. I mean, leadership has nothing to do with rank or title. I've met so many people right on the front lines of amazing organizations that, they do what we just talked about. They inspire the people around them. They give them the tools they need to succeed. And it's just tremendous.
I want to talk about how people first. And I was just talking to someone. I help someone with their podcast that's coming out, and they're in HR, and talking about, if you see a job posting that says, this job, we're family, you were treated like you run, is what she said. And so I want to hear kind of your part of that, because we're all showing up, and we've talked about it on this show too. Like, it's hard. It's not, leave your life at the door when you walk into the office anymore. Like,
for sure,
not possible. But it's also that separation of you're going to work. So, can you talk a little bit about what putting people first means?
First of all, I was blessed to have so many great teachers in martial arts, and some of them were, I believe, some of the world's greatest living philosophers to this day. And one of the gifts they shared with me was this idea about balance. We have this strange idea, I think, in Western thinking, that balance is a static place, that you reach that perfect stasis, work-life balance, or balance between family and going to the job. And balance is really a dynamic process, isn't it? We're constantly being knocked out of balance. We're working our way back to it, and knowing that we're going to be knocked out of balance again. That's something we accept as fighters. So, that's what we really need to apply. Now, when people are talking about, what you just brought up, how do you make that distinction? Well, first of all, I think that word family gets a little overthrown. You can tell I'm not lollipops and puppy dogs already, I think, right? It's nice to treat people at work like family. That's good. That's a noble thing to do. But let's face it, most of us in the workplace are not blood family, and we're going to put our blood family first. That's just the way people are, and there's nothing wrong with that. So it's an idea. I think the bridge of these concepts is really respect, right? Which I learned, believe it or not, from a third grade kid years ago. I can tell you that story. It was an amazing story. It's part of what started me on this journey. I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, this is what started it. And he had a perfect definition for respect. This is a third grade kid, mind you. And he said, respect is taking care of one another. Now, if we imprint that in leadership, right, if we keep that first and foremost, that's what's going to keep us, in the right lane. And think about it, right? I mean, what's an organization made out of anyway? It's made out of people. It's made out of a human being. So when you're not putting, in fact, I just spoke at a conference where it was construction financial managers. And in their journal that month, I couldn't have hoped for a better setup. There was an article written by a guy who had lost sight of that. And he realized, and he actually said, the quote was, "I've learned to put people first, because when I didn't, I looked out my window and I saw a yard full of equipment and nobody there to run it."
Wow.
And that happens. That's a story that happens over and over and over again these days.
Yeah. Do you think it has changed a lot since COVID and working from home, which just adds another layer of how do you connect with people, It's
been interesting because there's been, again, challenges and opportunities there, right? I mean, look at the way technology opened up the world so that we could meet and have conversations like this, and we've never met face to face. So that's the positive side of it, right? The negative side is that a lot of people did end up in silos, right? And they ended up not connecting face to face. I think, again, it's a dynamic balance. Right now, there's a big argument in leadership, in academic leadership, about whether remote work or in-person work is the best. And I think we're fools looking for the best of anything.
Yeah.
The best is probably some kind of blend between the two. And again, that has to be dynamic. At times, it may be better for someone to work at home. At times, it may be better for us to be in the office and interface with one another. But I have to admit, too, that I'm a little bit old school. I like hugs and handshakes. I like to be in the room with people. And we missed a lot when we were deprived of that.
Yeah. How then would, a company that is, or someone in a leadership role that has many people, because it feels kind of like we're at a place where like you have to go person to person. What does the person need best to be the most proficient and the best at their job, which I guess could be hard with every person. You're like, okay, well, you can come in the office, you get to stay home, you can have a 4-day week. But that also kind of seems like that's how it should be.
It creates a management problem, doesn't it? And it's so interesting because Admiral Grace Hopper said it years ago, the best I've ever heard it. She said, management is about things, leadership is about people, right? And so that's a difficult thing. But to me, you're asking all the right questions. You're asking the questions that the best leaders that I work with always ask themselves, right? What is right for the individual? Now, of course, there's a point of negotiation where you can't, in a lot of instances, you can't just allow every single person to do what's perfect for them, right? Yeah. So there has to be some compromise on both sides of that. But overall, I think you're better erring on the side of saying, what's better. And when you're talking about an individual and when you're dealing one-on-one, that's where you need to be. That's where your attention needs to be focused, right? But in a large organization, you can guarantee that one person you're talking to is representative of many more, right? That will have the same needs and interests and concerns. So, the idea is not to be the undercover boss, right? God, I hate that show. How do these guys not know what's going on the front lines, right? You need to know. You need to bridge that gap. And so, no, I think you hit it out of the park. And asking the questions is the key, isn't it? I mean, the greatest leaders I've ever met and I've ever studied, they're not the people who have all the answers. We have a different term for people that have all the answers, right? Know everything. I won't use it on your program, but
you'll get us kicked off. Yeah.
No, the greatest leaders are the people who practice asking the right questions, and are constantly seeking more information and more, a stronger human connection so that they can serve their people better, the people that trust in their leadership. It's not always going to be perfect, right? But we're going to keep moving towards perfection. And that leads to one of the greatest gifts I ever got out of my life in the martial arts was this little philosophy was perfection's not a destination. It's a never-ending process. And the more we can embrace that and keep trying, then things will generally work out better.
Wow. How, obviously this is going to be like a high level question, but like, what does working with you on this movement look like?
Oh, well, that's not such a bad question. It can take a lot of levels. I mean, I work with organizations. I do a lot of conference speaking, keynoting and workshops and things like that. We can only go so far in a conference, right? Because we've got limited time. So we do a lot of workshops where that could be anything from a half day to multiple days. And we just launched, I'm so proud about this. We just launched a dream I've had for years. It's called the Keep It Human Network. And there's a free forever level there. And then there's different tiers for people that want to get involved on a deeper level. So that's pretty accessible. keepithumannetwork.org is a great way to get there.
Okay, good. Tell everybody about your books. When did you start writing?
Oh my goodness. That's a tough question. I'd have to look at the shelf and check the copyright date on the first one. It's been a while, and now I'm older than dirt. So I think the first one had a horrible name. It was called The Dynamic Components of Personal Power. And it was trying to explore, how the martial arts helped me through a recovery process and helped me find myself. Then later on, we just finished number 10. Number 10 is Inspire, Empower, Guide, the 3 essential disciplines for today's leader. In between, Think Like a Black Belt was very good for us, and The Sensei Leader was very good for us. So yeah, it's been fun. It's weird how all of a sudden you look back and you say, wow, a lot of stuff happened. I'm old now.
What are you working on now? You said you just released, but what's up next for you?
Really to build a network, because and the focus of the network really is, and now we have the technology to do it. And there's where I think COVID helped a little bit. We found a platform called Mighty Networks that put it all together for us, where leaders can, if they attend some of my events or workshops or whatever, however we connect online through a program like yours, whatever it is, we can bring people together so that peer to peer, leaders can share ideas, share their concerns, share their interests, share their their triumphs and share their problems, right? So that we can have an open forum and talk about it. Lots of other stuff too. I mean, there's online curriculum there and live events that we're doing, but I think the biggest part of it is just give people the opportunity. And we've met people literally all over the world. So it's kind of cool to see people being able to come together with this technology and share together. Because ultimately, if you press me to summarize leadership in one idea, it's just that. It's leadership is sharing. The leader shares. The rest of the conversation is just about what we're willing to share and how we're going to do it.
Wow. You just said, you're meeting people from all over the world. Does it feel like there is a shift in this direction worldwide, and that it's an opportunity worldwide to come around this concept?
More similarities than differences. Differences make us interesting. I don't believe our differences make us stronger. That's something I think has been overcooked for a long time. The fact that we can work together and cooperate despite our differences is what can make us stronger. Our differences can certainly make us interesting and can certainly open us up to a lot of other ideas, right? But most of all, I see people all over the world really wanting to serve their people well and make connections and reach out on a human level. Cultural differences once in a while will come up, but they're usually not, they're not that big an obstacle. People still want to help one another and serve one another. So, that's what it's all about. So now I'm very, I'm realist. I'm a realist, but I'm very, very optimistic, because of the people that I meet and work with. And the younger generations, I know every generation takes a hosing on the way up, right? from the people that were there before. But overall, again, I'm very optimistic. A lot of good energy coming up.
Well, that's good. What do you love most about your life right now?
Being able to share these ideas with people and see them, put these ideas to work, because that's the other thing too. We can talk philosophy till the cows come home, and I love to do that, right? But we really, like I said, forget the lollipops and rainbows. We've got to roll up our sleeves and put it to work. When I use the word discipline, I mean what I'm saying. These are not just pretty words. These are concepts and things that we have to embed in our lives and in our leadership practice every day. If you don't care, don't bother, right? I mean, people will feel you out very quickly. But these days, it's a very challenging environment to attract and retain the best people, to attract anybody. So, leaders have to pay attention to it. Thankfully, a lot of the academics and researchers are becoming very energized about promoting that now too. So I think the time is right for people to turn on to this and really embrace it.
What's the type of leader that you like working with, or that usually is drawn to you? Is there a level of leadership? Is there a leader who has a certain amount of employees? Who do you work with?
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Like I said, leadership has nothing to do with a rank or title or a position of authority. I'll make the argument we're all leaders, because we can all do these things we talked about earlier. We all do inspire people. We touch people's hearts all the time, right? Whether we realize it or not. We empower people. We give people the tools they need. And again, whether we know it or not sometimes. And we certainly guide people. And that can be anything from a one-on-one friendship relationship, parenting, community service, and then organizations of all size in business, so, and at all levels. It really doesn't matter. We work with people from the front lines to the C-suite just to help them. And that's our lane. I by admission, my lane is very focused, right? I don't stray into technical management too much, only when it's absolutely necessary in order to create implementation for these ideas. So the idea is to help everybody at any level inspire, empower, and guide others, and hopefully to their best. I think that's a pretty good mission for any of us to embrace.
I like it. I like that answer. What is the best way that people can connect with you and find your books and follow you?
Thanks for asking. I'm real easy to find. The best website to reach us at now is thehuman-centric-leader.org, thehuman-centric-leader.org. And that's kind of the nexus for everything. So.
Okay, good. I appreciate you so much being here.
Oh, thanks for your hospitality. I hope we meet again.
I mean, come back anytime. We've got a lot going on. So anytime you've got something to shout about, you'd let me know.
Oh, I appreciate that. Seriously, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Jim Bouchard, everybody, go to thehuman-centric-leader.org to learn more about him, get his books. Thank you. Thank you.
You know what would be better than watching this commercial? Watching your commercial. Scan the QR code or visit makeyourdayricher.com/advertising to start promoting today.
All right, the last couple days, all week, our second guest has been blowing up the internet. We've been having issues, so let's hope today we have fixed it. So are you feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or just plain burnt out? My next guest offers a path toward more peace and contentment. She is a work-life harmony coach who specializes in helping women reduce stress, build confidence, and find more joy in their lives. She's here to share practical tools and insights to help you create a life that truly works for you. Please say hello to Arlene Miller. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know what's crazy, Arlene, is that I don't really plan like the two people that are going to be on the show. They just kind of show up based on when they choose to be here. And all week, everybody has been sort of syncing up in topics. And I think it's kind of fantastic that we're getting multiple different views of each of these topics. And what I love about you is that you call it work-life harmony because, as you'll probably tell us, there is no balance between work and life, right?
Well, as a recovering attorney, I am an attorney, but I have a practice forever. And then I switched into coaching and mentoring. I don't like that scale thing because you're always trying to find balance. And, we need to be flexible. We need to be adaptable. But when we bring that balance and harmony together, we have hope of, rolling with whatever's happening in the life because we're working to heal ourselves from the inside out. So even if our challenges don't change, even if our life doesn't change, we're more capable, we're more adaptable, we're more able to handle whatever life presents.
How did you get into this? How did you make was it the need from the job you had to like, oh my gosh, I need to figure this out?
I just feel like it was like synchronicity throughout my life. I got divorced when my son was almost 3. He developed pretty severe ADHD. He's very successful and doing great now, but I never knew that when he was younger. And so I sort of went on a mission to help heal him. And while I was, I became pregnant when I opened my first law practice, like literally within the first month. So I'm like, my ex-husband was in training. He was working 70 or 80 hours a week. So I didn't really have him. We had moved from the southern to the Midwest US. So my family wasn't there. All my law school friends were practicing around the Kentucky area. So I didn't have them. And so I really had to develop my own tribe, my own way of being, had to take care of my son, how to make my business a success. And there weren't any work-life harmony coaches then. There were counselors, there were psychologists, and they helped me a little bit, but it really wasn't what I needed. And I think that's when the seed got planted.
When you were talking about like all of the things that you had going on, right? You just opened your practice, you had this, you were moving, you had all, then I'm here like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. I have no kids. I have a dog to walk a couple times a day. I have a really fun job, but I still like, it's almost like the thing like, well, I shouldn't go to a therapist because my trauma is not as bad as someone else's. And that's kind of how I was feeling in that moment while you were talking, was like, why am I tired all the time? I don't have anything to do. Can you talk a little bit maybe about that, about like that? I always say like everybody's hell is hot, right? Like no matter what you're going through, if there's trauma, if there's pain, you can't really compare yourself to others. But I just did that in talking to you.
Yeah, and that was the first thing I was going to share with you. I think the worst thing that we can do is to compare ourselves with other people because the grass is going to look greener, especially with all the social media stuff where you can make yourself look different and you just have a little camera shot of your life and no one really knows what's going on. And I mean, it's because when we compare ourselves with other people, we're judging ourselves, we're judging other people. We just have to let that stuff go. And that's what I help people with. And I'm not saying it was easy when I was doing this. I think I was tired constantly the first 3 years of my son's life. I don't know how I did it. Well, I was young. That was helpful. I was a lot younger. But we all have stuff that's going on. We all do. And I think we need just to, when we hear someone else capsulize it like that, we need to go, great, but we're doing great things as well.
I want to talk about that work-life harmony thing because I think everybody, not everybody, but so many people were able to go and work from home during COVID, and we got very comfortable, and we had this sort of harmony of being able to go throw in laundry and do things and kind of combine both of them in a way that worked for so many people. And so many places now are forcing employees to go back into the office, even if it's a few days a week. And it feels like it's being disrupted again. And we have to, I guess I'm just from my own life, people in my own life are starting to have anxiety and panic over that because we were in a groove. And now it feels like we're disrupted again, just like when COVID happened and how difficult it was to work from home at first.
I think that life is always changing. And a lot of the working mothers had a really hard time. Imagine having your kids at home all day in front of a computer, working on their courses, and you're trying to work. And so a lot of them, it wasn't the greatest thing. So, and the kids really suffered, from not having all that socialization as well. So I guess as human beings, we're a soul having a human experience, but the human bit of us does not like change. It wants to sit on the couch, eat potato chips, watch Netflix, play video games, but it doesn't want to evolve and grow. And so a part of it is just accepting, hey, we have to evolve and grow here. We have to adapt to this change, because I also work with a lot of people in the tech industry, and they're having a real hard time because when they were in the office, at least they could walk somewhere with a friend and have a chat. But now they're stuck in front of their computers all day, and the companies are expecting them to be there the whole time, So I don't think it's black and white. And, I know that it can feel really difficult and really stressful when we're experiencing change. And I can help people with that if you want to talk about some of those things to take ourselves from that fight or flight mode to rest and relax mode, which is like my area of expertise. But I think we really have to just find ways to be flexible and adaptable and go with the flow, because life is always changing. The only thing that we can really control ourselves is our attitude and our mindset, and really how we take care of ourselves.
Yeah, our reaction to everything that's happening, right? We can't really control what's happening, but we can control how we react to it, I suppose.
Or we can respond, because a reaction is like,
okay, yes.
All
right,
and a response is, ah.
Yeah. Oh, good one. See, this is why we need to go to Arlene for help on these things. Tell everybody about the work that you do and who you work with, and some of the things that you do with people.
Well, I really believe that we need to work from the inside out, because there's all these life hacks and work hacks and mom hacks, and they can save us time and they can make our life a little bit easier. But if we're overwhelmed, if we're panicking, or we're having anxiety attacks like you're talking about on the inside, we really need to start from the inside out. And so coaching is different than mentoring, but I'll just start with some of the things that people can maybe do to help themselves in these kind of transitions. And one is just learning to breathe, because when we get really upset, when we get really stressed, we stop breathing. We just breathe from up here, and that tells our body, oh my God, we're being chased by a bear, I'm going to die. So one simple thing that your audience or everyone can do is just to breathe in and out through your nose and have the out breath longer than the in breath. You don't have to do this in a special time of day. If someone's blah, blah, blahing at you, you can listen and breathe. If you're waiting in line at the grocery store, if you're driving your car to work, you can practice this breath work. And what it does is physiologically, it tells your body, I can calm down. And sometimes we need to do it for 5 or 10 minutes. But if we're driving to work, we have plenty of time. Maybe we're listening to a podcast then, or doing something that mobilizes our time in a way that is also enjoyable. So that would be my first technique to share with your audience, is that we need to remember to breathe. If we're getting upset, if we're getting anxious, how am I breathing? Or maybe I'm not even hardly breathing.
Yeah, I meditate every morning, and I have my little acupressure mat, and I lay it down and I do a meditation. And I always think to myself during the breathing parts, because I'm oftentimes an up here breather, and I always think like, okay, how large can I make my stomach? Like, how big can it get? Like, what beer belly can I force myself to have? And it so works so quickly too. Like, I don't think people realize, like you said, it doesn't have to be a 3-hour meditation like that. it's like almost instant gratification when it comes to breathing like that.
And you bring in a really good point, because a sense of humor is a sacred quality. So, I mean,
Mm.
you get the visual of your stomach going up and down. You just have to smile. And
Uh-huh.
so I like to watch, there's a couple of comedians I love to watch, and, or just some different videos that are uplifting, or even the music. So there's, whatever you find uplifting, whatever can make you smile. Laughter is a great way to move through things. It's
Yeah.
a great way to move through things, not that fake kind of laughter, but because I was really chuckling of visualizing your belly going up and down. And so humor is just something that we can play with, and maybe we can have a humor buddy where we tell each other jokes, or say, I really saw something funny. You've got to watch this. And that really helps to lighten up our life as well.
I wonder, now that you say that, if that's why so many people send memes back and forth to people, like that's such a huge thing of just like quick little comedy relief for people, because you never know when someone's going to need it. And I wonder if that's how that
Yeah.
started.
I don't know, but it is fun, but there was a great video the other day, and it was like a mother on the couch, maybe my age, like a grandmother, and she was laughing at something on her cell phone, knowing that she was going to send it to their kids, and they were not going to get it. And it just cracked me up, because, things that my son might find funny, I'm like, what? And things that
Yeah.
I might find funny, he's like, Mom. So yeah,
Yes, yes. You got to find the people who have your same type of humor. Otherwise, you end up laughing by yourself, and you're like, but you don't know how funny that is. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about burnout and avoiding burnout? I literally had this conversation about anxiety and yesterday, and panic. And someone on this show at one point said, we're not really supposed to have any of those things. Like, that's kind of stuff that we create on our own, and we exasperate and blow up. But can we talk about that a little bit from your point of view?
Well, I think we have to talk about what's going on in our society. I don't think it's healthy to be in front of our computers all day. And
Mhm.
so we need to
Mm.
find ways in our day-to-day life to bring in that self-love and that self-care. And it's important not to feel guilty, because when we fill ourselves up with love and share the overflow of that love with other people, it's going to be a lot harder to experience burnout. But we have to take care of our bodies and our minds and our souls in the meantime. And sometimes it can just be really simple. It can, for me, I love nature, even when it's cold as heck right here in Colorado
Mhm.
right now. You can still bundle up, you can still see the mountains, you can still walk around, you can still breathe the fresh air. So I feel like when you get out in nature, it just, for me, the energy of nature is like, it just harmonizes my bodies and feels. It helps me to let go. And I'm not talking about, don't take your cell phone with you, just let it go, leave that world
Mhm.
behind for a little bit, and just allow yourself to enjoy and appreciate the beauty around you. That's one simple way. And really it's a matter of feeling into yourself. What brings me stress relief? For your prior
Yeah.
guest, it was karate and how it changed his life, and the whole philosophy of it. And that helped my son when he was little too, when with his ADHD. But everyone has something that lights them up. And when we have those things in our life that make our hearts sing, and we can focus on them and not let all the things that are causing us anxiety to consume us, we're going to begin to have a different experience.
Yeah, that's so smart. Like, find what lights you up. Try different things. Like, it doesn't have to be. I used to work for an arts and health organization, and we offered 3 different types of art. And I would like try them all and see which one you love. You don't have to do all of them. Like, find what works for you, and then just take it all in and enjoy that.
Yeah, we really need to have that self-care, and it doesn't have to take that long, like you're talking about with the meditation stuff. It can just be, I call it like a little intermezzo. When I was younger, and I don't know, I would go to fancy restaurants. I really don't care anymore. But anyway, you'd have a course, and then you'd have a little thing of sorbet and be your intermezzo. Then you'd have another part of the meal, and it like cleanses your palate. So emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, we need to find ways to cleanse our palate. And
Mhm.
when people say they don't have enough time, we need to find ways to make time, because any kind of exercise, any kind of meditation, any kind of thing that could make your heart sing that you want to learn about, you can find it on the internet. You don't have to leave your home even.
Yeah, it's so true. Yes. I have been without my phone all week because it broke. So I'm waiting for it to come back. It has been the best week of my life. Like not having that, like all the mindlessness. My dog's getting walked more. I'm, and I'm from Wisconsin, so I'm used to very cold weather, but I hate it. And here in South Carolina, it's like 20 some degrees now, I didn't want to go out this morning. And the dog, who's sleeping literally right here now, kept circling and circling. And finally I was like, let's just go. And that 45 minutes was like such a wake up call. Like I felt completely different when I walked back in the door than when I walked out. So glad I did it.
And I used not to listen to myself, especially when because I've owned two law firms, one as a solo, one as a partner. And I would push myself through. My human bit of me was saying, you accomplished this, Arlene, great job. You need a break. We need a break. And it's like, no, I can get one more thing done. And we're going to get more things done if we take that break. We need that intermezzo, that beautiful walk you took with your dog. There's all sorts of people that walk dogs here. Whatever it is that works for you, a hot shower, anything, whatever you can do to cleanse your palate, even if it's 5 minutes, 40 minutes was great, 20 minutes, whatever you got, it's going to make you be more productive in what you need to get done.
How can people connect with you? And like, who do you work with? This is going to be like 6 questions in one. Who do you work with? And when do they come to you? And when should they come to you?
Well, I started off working with women, and that's been my bread and butter, but it's really expanding out more just kind of on a happenstance way with technology, industry, because those people seem to be statistically the most stressed out ever in our world, especially those that are staying home and people are demanding that they stay in front of their computers all day and they don't have that interaction with their fellow IT people. And so that's who I've been working with mostly. And a lot of people come to me when they're really stressed out, but the people that have been working with me and coming back and forth for years, sort of if they feel themselves like falling out of that harmony and they're having trouble to get back into it, they'll come back and we'll work together again. So
Okay,
that's what I do.
And what's the best way that people can reach you?
They can reach me. I can talk here at my website, jewelconsultancy.com. Thanks for putting that up there. Yeah. And also my full name is Arlene Cohen, Cohen Miller. And I think I'm the only one out there on the web with that name. Cohen is, since I got divorced, it's my son's last name. And I wanted to honor him when I got divorced. And so if you Google that, you'll find me in all the different places and social media that I'm at. And you can also text me. That's the easiest and quickest way to find me. It's 720-936-2634, because I don't know about you, but I'm getting so many emails recently. Sometimes it takes me an hour to go through and delete all the trash. So if you want to, text me right away and you have a burning question, or you'd like to connect, that's probably the quickest way.
Someone's very passionate about what they do when they're just throwing their phone number out into the interwebs and being like, text me. Not having that.
I know people say, why do you do that? Well, I'm not going to get hurt. Just my phone number doesn't connect it to anything anymore with your cell phone, so
yeah, so true. What do you love most about your life right now?
Well, I just love the freedom, of what I'm doing, because, I can help people. I can be of service, and that makes my heart sing, but I still have time to travel, because you can do this anywhere in the world, coaching and mentoring. And, so at this stage in my life, after having, been more tied to a business and where it never leaves you with the practice of law, it's really fun to, take what I've learned there, because we're a conglomeration of everything we've experienced. So, what I do and what I can help people with, that law practice and, working in organizations and everything that came with it, that kind of right brain stuff is kind of harmonizing with my left brain stuff now. So it's really interesting. And I just love the freedom of being able to set the timetable that works for me and for the people that I share with, and the people that I love, and the people that work with me online.
I love that. Final question, because you brought up something that got me very excited. Who's your favorite comedian right now?
Nate Bargatze. Have you heard of
Yes,
him?
good choice. Oh my God, I love him.
He's so funny, and
Yeah.
he's so clean, and he's just so
Yes.
he deprecates himself all the time, but it is hysterical. I don't know why, I
Mm.
just sort of got addicted to him. And there's another lady, I can't remember her name right now, but has blonde hair and is a little bit overweight, and she's a mother, and she always wears long dresses on the stage, and she she talks
Oh,
about
she has long blonde hair and she's from the South, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's gonna drive me nuts. She has a great stand-up special and she was just in a movie.
I
Yes.
haven't seen the movie, but she's hysterical about how she talks about her kids and her husband and when they're younger
Yes.
and now, and I just can so relate to her, and she's very clean too, and the expressions on her face. I'm usually like on the floor,
Mhm.
so
And she has
I like.
such a great Southern accent. I think she lived in San Antonio, Texas for a while as well,
Oh,
I think.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love her. Oh my gosh. I'm so mad that I can't think of her name, but she's so good. I'll find it and I'll send it to you. I
Okay.
can't thank you enough for being here. I appreciate it so much.
Well, I appreciate you for having me, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I can talk. Yeah. Thank
You
you.
can talk, but we're done now, so you don't have to talk anymore. Thank
Okay.
you so
Thank you.
much for being here. I appreciate it. Come
Thank
back
you.
anytime. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's our show, everyone. On tomorrow's show, we have host and author Shauna Lee and filmmaker Jake Green. So stick around. Go make your day richer. Go make somebody else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I love you for it. It's still a really good time to share the show. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.